Welcome back to week 13 of He Fantasy Football and our virtual update. Week 13 is in the books. And let me tell you, we had some absolute beat downs this week. Some heartbreaking losses and enough bad decisions with that lineup to fill a textbook on what not to do when you're a fantasy football manager. Our playoff picture is getting pretty close to being concrete. We have one bubble team and then one team fighting for that sixth spot. The rest, 1 through 5, are pretty much set. And then we have our bottom feeders, those that were ranked 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that's kind of where we're at with week 13. We got 1 week left, and we're going to see what happens. So let's go. All right. Week 13, league average was 113.09. We had some winners. Hulkamaniacs, again, getting the dub. Actually had the high score of the week. HeathBar getting the W from the bottom feeder to not quite the bottom feeder anymore, and the same with straight class. BFI also getting a 2-0 week, beating the average and beating their head-to-head opponent. Fingerbanger and Bradley's boys both lost their head-to-heads, but were able to beat the league average to go 1-1. Our losers over here, Big 33 Triple J, both beat their opponent this week, but could not sneak by and get another point each to beat that league average. And then we got Nasty Nate Dogg 102, Swagger, Lincoln Hawk, and the Season of Dreams, who was in our top 3 or 4 before the week started. So is Season of Dreams doing a little slippage? They just might be. We'll check out and see what happens here with our Sunday autopsy with the previous week 13, and then we're going to have some matchup predictions for week 14, get us right into the playoffs, and then don't forget we got a shit list nominee, folks, a shit list nominee, not been on the shit list yet before. Stay tuned, and you'll find out who that was. Our first matchup of week 13 showcases maybe the hottest team in the league with Hulkamaniacs, who just ran wild, brother, all over Lincoln Hawk. Poor Lincoln Hawk. 89.85 points, putting you, Lincoln Hawk, in last place. But we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. Hulkamaniacs 142.10 to Lincoln Hawk 89.85. That's about a 50-point difference. Lincoln Hawk came in at 8-16. Desperately trying to make something happen, and didn't work. Did not work. Lincoln Hawk is now 8-18. And might just be in line for buying pizza for the league next year. Hulkamaniacs improved 17-9 and are riding a 4-game winning streak right into the playoffs. I mean, this one was ugly from the opening whistle. You know, yeah. I mean, there's not even much to say about this one. Lincoln Hawk wasn't even with a 24 points from league average. So yeah, just a rough showing. So let's dig a little deeper. We kind of tried to edit the studs and the duds section to studs or anyone that's in that 20 plus range for the week, where duds or anything under 5, or maybe someone that had potentially a pretty big expected output that just didn't meet that number. So we have studs for the Hulkamaniacs coming. Jordan Love, 36.1 points. Big week. Zach Ertz coming in at 20.6. 56 for those two guys. Where the studs for old Lincoln Hawk, the only one putting up numbers is Brock Bowers at 22.3 points this past week. The duds, there's a couple of them here on the old Lincoln Hawks roster. Ja'Cory Crosskey Merritt, 2 points. DJ Moore, 4.7. And Stephon Diggs, 5.6. Where Hulkamaniacs really only dud was that Browns defense coming in at 4. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure what to expect there. Maybe 10 points, but 4 probably underperforms just a little bit, giving up a lot of offensive points there. Efficiency rating, not bad, 96.2 for our hottest team in the league, Hulkamaniacs, and Lincoln Hawk coming in at 86.4. Again, that efficiency rating, folks, just so we're clear, is when it looks at your starters and then your bench, like basically how you get to your max points is 100% efficiency. So if you left some points on the bench, that efficiency goes down the more that you leave on the bench. So 86.4 for the old Lincoln Hawk versus 96.2. For the Hulkamaniacs, let's go to the next matchup. We got number 2, Season of Dreams, 79.65 versus Straight Class, 136.1. Straight Class, who was tied for last coming into this week, puts up a big number at 136.1. Big number. That's going to shoot him up 2-0 on the week. Get him out of that basement cellar. Probably making sure he's not buying pizza for the next year, but not quite enough for the playoffs. Season Dreams, who's been fighting for playoffs, not the number he wants right there. Not the number he wants. 79 points. Not good. Even worse is probably this efficiency rating of 65.1, where Straight Class was 93.3. So Season of Dreams, just not efficient from a game manager. Not efficient. So let's get into some of our studs and duds here. We got the studs for Straight Class with Rashee Rice, 29.4. CD Lamb, 24.2. And the Jacksonville, it's coming in strong with 20 points for old Straight Class. Not bad. 3 guys almost putting up, 44, 30, almost putting up 74 points between them. That almost beat Season of Dreams right there. Bo Nix, Season of Dreams best stud, 21.65 points on the week. The duds, this one hurts. This one hurts Season of Dreams big time. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets hurt like, I don't know, 5 plays into the game, doesn't come back. That hurts. That nothing much you can do about that. Doesn't even get a chance to get a pass thrown to him. Rams defense, who one would think playing Carolina, probably a pretty good start, but no, not showing up against the Panthers and putting up 5 points. Straight Class, Lamar Jackson was on the struggle bus there against Cincinnati, put up 9 points. Not horrible, but I mean, you're probably trying to get 25 out of that cat. Yeah. So a little bit of a dud there for Lamar Jackson, the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, and Straight Class's favorite player. So we looked at efficiency already, 93.3 for Straight Class. Good job starting his guys. 65.1. Season Dreams got to turn that baby around. Matchup 3, BFI versus Finger Banger. This was close. Basically 2.5 points separates these two from being a tie. BFI comes out on top, 122.15 to 119.50. BFI goes 2-0 by beating the league average, and the Finger Banger, where he goes 1-1. Finger Banger, we must point out, is at the top of the standings going into the last week of the season. So let's see if he can turn things back around, where BFI was tied for 5th, 6th, and now is sitting in 5th place by himself. And quite honestly, he wants to stay there. The hottest team in the league right now is Hulkamaniacs. He's sitting at the number 3 seed. So if playoffs were to start right now, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. So BFI would be facing that 4th seed and staying away from the Hulkamaniacs, who is on fire. All right, so let's move into the old studs and duds. We're going to start with BFI, led by Patrick Mahomes, 40.05 points. I do believe that Patrick Mahomes is the leading scorer in all of our fantasy football league. Now, traditionally, our league rewards quarterbacks more than anyone. So probably the top 10 scorers are all quarterbacks. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes leading the league in scoring, puts up 40.05 for BFI. RJ Harvey comes in at 21.2. So solid 60 points between two of your top players right there. Finger banger carried by Dak Prescott, who's having a pretty good season there at 27.8 points. And then big tight end Trey McBride for Arizona putting up 22.2 points for finger banger. Duds, this hurt both teams just a little bit. Justin Jefferson only 2.4 points, where that's a pretty big punch to the gut when you're not getting more points out of him. Even another catch of 20 yards, finger banger would have won that matchup. So Justin Jefferson 2.4 points, that hurts. BFI duds, Michael Pittman 2.3 and Cade Otton 2.9. So not too bad. But when you have Mahomes scoring 40 points, that picks up a lot of the slack. Even if you take 10 points and give them to each of them, it's 12.3, 12.9. Mahomes still has 20. So, ration those points out there. Mahomes carrying BFI to the dub this week. Efficiency-wise, finger banger with a pretty solid number, 93.7. Not a whole lot he could have done. He might have been able to get to 127.6 points if you played some guy that can't pronounce his name. So we're just going to skip that. BFI, 86.1 point efficiency. Probably could have made the swap at tight end. That would have been a big difference. But BFI still wins that matchup. So we got to give a little bit of props over to that person for picking up the W and taking down the person that was at that point at least tops in the league. And I think he still is. So, but we'll see. Hulkamaniacs is coming fast. He's riding up there. All right, let's get to matchup 4. Why don't we? We got Big 33 beating Swagger by 20 points. 113, just under that league average. So BFI only gets 1 win this week because he needed a few more points, or at least 1 more point just to get above that league average to make himself 2-0. Swagger got punched hard right there, 0-2. Puts him in 11th place in the standings, I believe. And I think, which we might find out later, who his matchup is. It could be an intriguing little matchup here in week 14. So let's dive in to the studs and the duds. Drake May has been a stud all season for Big 33, coming through 27.3 points in the quarterback position. Nico Collins also coming out there, putting up some production, 21.5 at the receiver slot. Swagger had some good guys score. I believe he had 3 guys in 20 points or over. The problem is they're all on the bench. Yeah, maybe Joe. Yeah. Joe Burrow put up like 25 and he was on the bench. Duds, Falcons defense for the old Swagger, 5 points. Chris Boswell from the kicking. I mean, that is what it is. We do have a kicker that scored 0 this week, so not the worst kicking performance out there. Big 33 duds, 4.5 for Aaron Jones and 2.8 for Rome Odunze. Yeah, efficiency pretty equal. So even if they both shot out there 100%, matchup still would have stayed the same with Big 33 winning. 74.3 might have been the third lowest this week. I think we'll find out. We'll find out later. For sure, we'll find out later. Matchup 5, Triple J versus a Nasty and Nate Dogg. This one might have been mentioned as the game of the week last week just because these guys, Nasty Nate Dogg was on the bubble. Triple J was tied for 5th, only maybe a game or two behind each other. So it was a big battle to see who's going to stay in that playoff race. And Triple J goes 1-1, while Nasty Nate Dogg goes 0-2. Triple J needed 2 points, 2 more points to basically get past that league average and go 2-0, but just wasn't in the cards for him. Even though he had a couple studs really perform well, we had probably the 2 lowest scoring duds in this matchup. So we have Bijan going for 30.3 and Jalen Hurts 22.6 points for the week. Nasty Nate Dogg, Devontae Adams getting touchdowns every freaking week. 21.8 points for him. Saquon, big dud, 5.6. That's against a Bears defense. You're expecting at least double-digit points. And then the kicker scoring 0 points. We just saw in the previous game we had a kicker score 1. Here's a kicker scoring 0. Zay Flowers, 0.6 points from a receiver. I mean, Triple J, your 2 starting receivers scored 2.1 points together, combined. That's crap, especially when you have Jameson Williams on that bench. And that's where your efficiency rating, 73.6, second lowest of the week, followed by Swagger, then Big 33. Season of Dreams in the 60s is the worst. That might be the worst we've had all season, but 73.6 is pretty bad. Nasty Nate Dogg, 94.9. Even if he got to 100, I still don't think he's getting enough points to get that victory this week. So Nasty Nate Dogg is going to slide out of the playoff race and just kind of hang in limbo there until we see what happens in this week 14. That's coming up. All right, next one. Matchup number 6, Bradley's Boys versus HeathBar. HeathBar has been another one of those teams that has been down in the dumps. I believe there was 3 or 4 all tied at like 8-16 or something like that. And HeathBar goes 2-0, puts up a big score, 138.35. Bradley's Boys stays kind of consistent, at least beating the league average almost week in and week out, but not enough here to get the W in the head-to-head, but does beat that league average by, 2.5 points, I believe. All right, studs for HeathBar. A.J. Brown finally goes off, 35.2 points. T-Law, 27.95, and Jacoby Myers, 21.3. That's pretty big scoring from 3 guys right there. I mean, we're looking at 56, 75 points, 74 points. Not bad. Seattle defense for the old Bradley Boys coming in strong with 33 points. But that offense, good thing the defense scored because that offense did not do much. Quarterback Sam Darnold 4.4 and JSN 4.3. So defense scoring 33, 2 offensive weapons scoring 8.7 between the 2. And then Troy Franklin coming in at 4.1. Got another kicker here in the duds section for the old HeathBar. Jake Elliott scoring 1 point. Now, the good news is Bradley's Boys efficiency is coming up a little bit at 86.2, where HeathBar was 91.8, almost starting that perfect lineup. All right, so that's the Sunday autopsy. We're going to move right along to our next section, which is our heroes versus our zeros. So let me bring this up real quick. And we got our hero number 1. Hero number 1. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Hero number 1 is, let's see if we can get it up here. HeathBar, hero number 1. HeathBar coming in and showing off that sexy lineup and getting a 2 and that might be HeathBar's first 2-0 victory this year. We'll have to check on that. But at least what we're looking at is probably not going to be buying the food for next year's draft party, as that goes to the guy that is at dead bottom of the standings at the end of week 14, which is next week. Our hero number 2, I spelled wrong, so let's just boot it up there. It is the Hulkamaniacs coming in on a big-time winning streak. Might be the hottest team that we have in fantasy right now. This should have been hero number 2. Hulkamaniacs, not hero. Let's just go hero. Hulkamaniacs coming in at might be the hottest team running right now. I hate to face them. And right now, Triple J, depending on week 14, if the playoffs started right now, Triple J would be facing Hulkamaniacs, and I don't think Triple J's owner would want that. That's not good. Our next lovely little hero of the day comes in for Team BFI, and it's Patrick Mahomes. 40.05 points this week. Highest score of the week from our starters. I think he was drafted in like the 5th or 6th round. So BFI coming through, picking a really good hero, a really good quarterback that's putting up some big-time numbers. And then our last hero of the week is Rashee Rice, 29.4, coming in for the Chiefs receiver, probably mix and matching with the old Patrick Mahomes there. But straight class coming through, helping pushing straight class to a 2-0 week this week. Big time. Our first 0, and I hate to say this because I don't know if it's fair. Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got injured, so we won't hold that totally against you in that situation because, ankle. Our next 0, Sam Darnold. He's been a hero for most of the year. He's coming in as a 0. 4 points for Bradley's boys. Bradley boys needs to get some momentum back. Momentum is fading. And we're just going to throw this one in there as well. Our next 0 is the kickers. We had a 0.00 effort, and we had a 1.00 effort, and I believe we had another 1.00 effort. So kickers, and I'll tell you, this is a point of contention every year. People want to see these kickers gone. And when they're scoring 1 point, I mean, I guess they scored more than Zay Flowers, but still not ideal, folks. Not ideal. All right, let's move into our leaderboard section of the virtual update here after week 13. Our highest point total this season is a new leader. We got the Hulkamaniacs at the top of that total points for the season. And the crazy thing, crazy thing, Hulkamaniacs is ranked 3rd in the standings. Highest points, ranked 3rd. I believe the second highest points might be ranked 2nd. It's goofy. Highest single week score so far this season is still Season of Dreams, sitting in there at 176. This week was kind of a low scoring week. Best efficiency rating. Oh, look at this, Lincoln Hawk. You're going to win something this year. Best efficiency rating for the worst team in the league. Man, he must have been drunk at that draft party. Most points left on the bench this week. Swagger, 97.85 points left on the bench. Oh, That's a kick to the midsection. Worst efficiency this week, Season of Dreams, 65.1. There was some low. There was at least 4 efficiencies under 77%. So just bad week overall. This Thanksgiving week, I wonder if that had anything to do with it. Biggest single week bust again. I guess we're going to pick up on Amon-Ra St. Brown with Season of Dreams, 0 points, just because probably had the highest potential and getting 0 hurts. Biggest steal of the draft so far this year looks to be a Javonte Williams, who was picked at 112 by Bradley's boys, and he is a top 10 running back. Usually 10 running backs go within the first, at least within the first 2 rounds, maybe into the 3rd round, but that's what, 36 picks. Javonte Williams picked at 112, is climbing that leaderboard for old Bradley's boys. Our stat of the week, we're going to just dive into this one again. It's 97.85, and I feel sorry to say this. I'm going to give you some other numbers. 25.85, 20.8, 22.6, 20.8, 7.8. You add those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers up, 97.85. That is a bench total, friends. That is the amount scored sitting on the bench. I think that score right there, just from your bench, beats a couple teams this week. Swagger leaving points on the bench. And the efficiency rating really wasn't that bad, so you still got some good points out there. We'll say that. Waiver wire roundup for week 13. We had the pickup of the week with Christian Watson. Scored 18.3 points, but I believe that player was left on the bench from a manager who was 65% efficient. So great idea picking him up, but we forgot to start the young gun. And he withered away on the bench. Let's see. Most active team this week, it looks like probably that Season of Dreams who picked up Christian Watson here and left him on the bench. So Season of Dream making moves, just not the correct starter moves, we'll say. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty here. We got our playoff watch, current playoff teams, Finger Banger, Bradley's Boys, Hulkamaniacs, Season of Dreams, BFI, Triple J. That should be our order. Finger Banger 1, Bradley's Boys 2, Hulkamaniacs 3, Season of Dreams 4, BFI 5, Triple J 6. On the bubble, there's still an outside shot that Big 33 can get through. Triple J needs to lose both games. Big 33 needs to win both games. And by doing so, scoring, I think points-wise, they're pretty close. But Big 33's got to get a little more points to jump in a tie situation, because our league rules, we go by overall record, and then we go by most points scored. So on the bubble, Big 33, Triple J. Teams eliminated. There's 5 of them. Straight Class, Nasty Nate Dogg, Swagger, HeathBar, and Lincoln Hawk. Lincoln Hawk has the biggest helmet right here, and he's right smack dab in the middle because he is the worst team in our official standings right now as we sit after week 13. There's still 1 week left, and I believe we're going to see in our matchups later this week that I don't know if you can see my mouse on the screen, but 2 of these teams that are eliminated are facing each other. And it could be, we could call this the toilet bowl, because possibly the loser ends up in last place. Let me see if I can see total points here. Doesn't look like it. All right, let's go. Last week of the regular season. Week 14. What do we got here? Matchup 1. I was wrong. Damn it. Whatever. I thought Lincoln Hawk and Swagger were playing, but I was incorrect. Straight Class versus Lincoln Hawk. Excitement level 3 out of 10 because they're both out of the playoffs. The only factor here is if Lincoln Hawk goes 0-2 and puts himself automatically in last place. We have a prediction score. Should look in to see what predictions were for last week to see if anyone was correct. Prediction 118 to 105 in favor of the Straight Class. Matchup 2, Hulkamaniacs versus Season of Dreams. This is playoff seed 3 versus playoff seed number 4. Really, really hot team with Hulkamaniacs versus getting colder as the year goes on. 7 rating 7 out of 10 because it's a playoff implications. Prediction: Hulkamaniacs wins 131 to 122. And that 122 is going to be real close to that league average. So we'll see what happens. Matchup number 3, excitement rating 7 out of 10. Big 33's got to beat BFI for a chance to get into the playoffs. BFI is predicted to win by 4 points as we sit right now. Next matchup, Finger Banger versus Swagger. Swagger's only predicted to get 98 points, but last week got 97 from the bench. Finger Banger 130. Finger Banger needs a couple wins. He needs his guys to start playing a little better. Otherwise, he's going to get overtaken. We're going to have a number 1 seed get upset in our playoffs. Excitement rating 2 out of 10. Game of the week, not sure why, but probably just because it's Triple J. Excitement rating 7 out of 10. I guess it could be game of the week because Triple J goes 0-2. Big 33 goes 2-0. We got to fight for that last playoff spot. HeathBar just trying to make the end of the season respectable. Won last week with a big number. This week, predictions are a 2-point game in favor of the Triple J-ster. And our last but not least, snoozer of the week. Nasty Nate Dogg versus Bradley Boys. Excitement rating 2 for 10. I mean, I feel like we got a couple snoozers this week. Bradley's boys predicted to win 132 to 101. Trying to see if I can find. Yeah, let's move on. Little history lesson. This weekly high was 142.10. Season high is 176. We still have that all-time scoring record at number 25, 185. So that's still in jeopardy if someone were to smack it. Okay. I feel like I know where we're coming next. But let's see. Oh! Week 13, the shit list. The shit list. Swagger makes that shit list with 97 points from the bench. Oh. I mean, that hurts. That hurts. Whew. Even though your efficiency wasn't the worst of the week, I mean, this was probably a toss-up to see if Season of Dreams found his way in here with a 65% efficiency rating. Bradley's boys found himself here in week 11 with a 68% efficiency. But for whatever reason, Swagger makes it here because I feel like it just knocked him out of the playoffs. And man, what a gut punch. Just seeing those numbers pile up and realizing, shit, I didn't start them. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of week 13. Stay tuned. We're going to have our playoff update next week.